Okay, you've heard it taught by the pre-tribulation rapture teachers that the church isn't mentioned after chapter 4 in the book of Revelation. I'm going to tell you why. The church is mentioned. But in the book of Revelation chapter 2 and 3, the church, just like Jesus said in Matthew chapter 13 about the weeds among the wheat, he said, let them grow up together. And then at the harvest, which is the rapture, then he separates them. And that's Revelation chapter 14, verse 14 through 20, is the perfect correlation of the rapture, which Jesus mentioned in Matthew chapter 13, verse 37 through 41. Get your Bible out and study it out, okay? The rapture does not happen in Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. If that were the case, then John was the only one to be raptured, and we all missed the rapture. But it is found in Revelation 14, verse 14 through 20, and confirmation is what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 13, verse 37 through 41. But to prove to you that the church is found after chapter 4 in the book of Revelation, first I have to tell you that when we see in chapter 2 and 3, God mentions the church, he includes you who are lukewarm. Okay, here's the wheat. Here's the weeds among the wheat. The wheat, you who are lukewarm, they're growing up together. You who hold to the teachings of the Nicolaitans, they're growing up together. You who are Jezebel and teach the servants of God the secrets of God, she's growing up together with the true wheat. You who hold to the teachings of Balaam and Balak, those are all you who... that's why it's called the church. The church includes the lukewarm, disobedient. The church is what's in this world. Okay? But I'm going to show you where the church is in the book of Revelation now. Are you ready? Revelation chapter 14. Right after the rapture. Right around the rapture. It says, the grapes were trampled in the winepress of God's wrath. The grapes, that's your ones who hold to the teachings of the Nicolaitans. That's your ones who are the lukewarm, who are vomited up. Now, but where's the weed? Where's the wheat that's put into God's barn? I'll tell you in the very next verse, literally. Actually, 2 verses later, 15:2, Revelation 15:2. He sees a sea of glass and those who had been victorious over the beast and its image. The sea of glass means they're up in heaven. So we see the weeds among the wheat, the lukewarm goats, the foolish virgins, those who hold to the teaching of the Nicolaitans are thrown into the winepress of God's wrath in Revelation 14:20, and the wheat is in God's barn, Revelation 15 verse 2. So the church is there. It's there. There's more church than you think. Revelation 9:4. No, hold on. That's from a different... Oh, yeah, okay. Let's look at Revelation 9:4. This is where the church is found in the book of Revelation. 9:4. Just so you know, there's the seventh trumpet. Do your Bible study on this. The seventh trumpet is the same event as the seventh bowl of God's wrath. Okay, so the angel who blows the seventh trumpet goes... And then the angel with the seventh bowl of God's wrath, when he hears the seventh trumpet, pours out the bowl. 2 different angels. One sounds the trumpet, and the other pours out the bowl. And it's the same event. The seventh trumpet is the same event as the seventh bowl of God's wrath. It's important you understand that. Because there's 3 sequence of events. The first sequence is the 7 seals that leads into the 7 trumpets. And then the 7th trumpet ends the sequence of events. Then there's a short sequence of events, which is Revelation chapter 12 and 13, and ends at Revelation 14:5. Then Revelation chapter 14 verse 6 starts a sequence of events of 7 angels that lead into the 7 bowls of God's wrath. And the 7th bowl of God's wrath is the last event, the very end of the age. And it's the same event as the 7th trumpet. So there's 3 sequence of events, but 2 major sequence of events. And it's like they go like this, and we see more detail in each one. So it's kind of like, remember back in the day when you would load up a picture on the internet and it would show half the picture and it was like fuzzy, and then it would refresh it again and it would get more clear, and then it'd refresh it a third time and then it was a clear picture. Okay, now everything loads instantly. But back in the day when it was dial-up, it would first load the whole picture and you see a fuzzy picture. That's what Revelation 6, verse 1 to the end of chapter, I think it's 11. Yeah, to the end of chapter 11, we see our first loading of the picture of the end of the age. And then we see another refreshing of it from Revelation 12 and 13. And it refreshes a little more information of the end of the age. And then the third sequence of events is Revelation 14:6. It starts with the angel of the gospel. And then Babylon the Great falls. It's the hour of God's judgment. And then the mark of the beast comes out. And then the rapture. And then Revelation chapter 15, God pours out his wrath. And 16. So that third sequence of events, Revelation 14:6 through through the end of chapter 16, is your third refreshing. So if you read all three, they cover the same sequence and the same timeline. They just cover different. And then Revelation chapter 18 gives you more details of Babylon the Great and when it falls. So it mentions the hour of God's judgment and Babylon the Great falling in Revelation chapter 14, verse 7 and 8. And then we get more detail of it in Revelation chapter 18.